that a lot of educated whites, suburban whites, they're not about that. They're about making a living and living their life. They don't want no cultural wars. They just want policies. Just give us and they're not delivering anything. They're not delivering anything. These pieces of they are losing. They are losing. Eventually, they're gonna become violent. That's what we gotta worry about. Go ahead.
Yeah, they have no actual policy agenda. I just really want to cover this. We're gonna watch about half of this TYT video. They perfectly condense, Crowder's shenanigans, and as we'll see soon, this whole harassment thing, is actually more common on the right than many would think.
And these allegations were made last week. So Matt Landau is the name of the individual we're talking about here. And he was a co-host for Steven Crowder and then later left and is now currently working for The Blaze. So he detailed how Crowder had installed a Dave don't talk button in the studio because he wanted to ensure that he always got the last word and that his co-host did.
Yeah, he's so unfunny to the point where he doesn't want this, comedian to steal the spotlight away from him. Credit where credit's due. He's a massive piece of crap and just a horrible human being. He's, a really disgusting conservative. But Landau is an actual comedian. I mean, he's had stand-up offers. I think there were plans for a Netflix special for him. He's made the rounds in these comedy venues. And Crowder was so insecure about being perceived as unfunny to the point where he had to cue Dave to not talk so he could have a wider window for more jokes. Let's continue.
Did not get the last word. So here's more from Landau.
How were you informed that there is a Don't Talk light, and what was your reaction?
We're
gonna get to the whole bit.
Pissed a bit because I know my job. I know that he talks a lot. I know that he's the star of the show. I know when to throw him what he needs to be thrown. I know when to sit back. It's what I did with Anthony for years. It's what I did next to Artie. It's what it's what I do. I'm not trying to ever steamroll him.
Right.
It was just, hey, don't be funnier. Don't be. And it's it sounds
the guy always look like he's
bitter,
drunk. He's an alcoholic. Is that
him?
Right?
Yep.
He's better since he left the show. Bobby stopped drinking.
Yeah. He probably needs to incessantly drink because he's co-hosts with Steven Crowder. Huh?
What's his name? Malice. He got me blocked because he's an anarchist. Anarchists are. So he's a small guy. I said, so what happened if you have an anarchist society? You're just going to gather the food from somebody else. I'm going to come and take it. I'm bigger than you. He cursed me out and blocked me when I told him. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It was true because I was pulled aside and I said it, and it was, hey, make sure if you're doing a rant or you guys are riffing, he gets the last word.
You were told this explicitly?
Yes. It was all about the title, and I wasn't respecting it, so there needed to be a light. And I had to make sure that, so even if I did have a funnier joke, I would just leave it out. It was important for the fans to not hear it. I always felt that my job as a comedian was to leave out the good one. I have heard of it where it's just the star needs to look like the star. So I guess, it's his show, fine. But I also feel like somebody who's so pro free speech and non-censorship, he was really about censorship.
That's because they don't believe in anything, Dave. They will constantly betray their principles because they want to dogmatically adhere to just being cruel. That's why conservatism is so contradictory. Anyway.
Oh, that was Dave Landau.
Let's let them break it down.
I'm mixing up his first name with Matt McClory, who we're going to talk about in just a moment, because that was another incident that Landau shed some light on during that interview. So what are your thoughts, Jake?
So, okay, look, there's a couple of different issues here. There's the terrible wife video that we covered earlier when Anna and I weren't here.
We covered that earlier, yeah.
This new allegations of the people who work with him. Now remember, the people who work with him are all conservative. They were almost all universally fans of Steven Crowder. They were super excited to work with him. And the fact that they're right-wingers matters for another reason. Because right-wingers generally these days, and left-wing, sorry if you're gonna catch feelings about this, but that's actually the point I'm making. The right wing is a lot less sensitive. Like you do any tiny little thing that's a little off in a normal place of work or a left-wing place of work.
I do agree with this. Conservatives don't typically hold grudges for their own.
Heat from employees, right? The right wing, you get out of them. They're like, yes, right?
Well, yeah, they think it's a virtue.
Yeah. They don't have the same sensitivities as the rest of the population, and he's still so badly that they're like, oh, this is unbelievable. This is outrageous. But look at the ego. I find the ego sickening. You got to let the stars shine. So if you have a funny joke, don't say it. Then why the hell did you hire him? What did you hire him to make non-funny jokes? I think that's pathetic. Putting aside like, oh, workplace issues, this, that, the other thing. If you tell someone in your network, don't outshine me, you are pathetic and should go home, okay? So if somebody is funnier than me, which is not a high bar, or makes better points than me on this network, I love it because I want to actually support creators. Now that leads me to Steven Crowder. Remember, oh, this $50 million slave contract, and I don't want to do this, not because of me, but because of the other creators I want to support. It turns out he hates the other creators, including inside his own company, and doesn't want to support them at all. He's just a big giant baby.
And a liar. I mean, it's now safe to say anything that he claims in one of these like lengthy monologue videos should be taken with a grain of salt. And you should probably think that whatever he's saying, you should believe the opposite of. Now, speaking of not wanting anyone to outshine him, there's a comedian, Matt McClowry, who was supposed to fill in for him and host Underlings Wash His, who claimed
here's the juicy part. Here's the juicy part.
Identity. In this case, the New York Post spoke to several of Crowder's former employees. The Post also writes that they spoke to 10 former employees who claimed Crowder ran an abusive company where he often screamed at his employees, including his own father, exposed his genitals,
guy is insane.
Sent out directives to arbitrarily fire people, and made underlings wash his dirty laundry.
Jesus Christ.
At work.
Do you think he lost any support yet?
I don't know how many.
No, I think among conservatives, people who typically pay attention to conservative media, he's actually gotten more of their eyes because they see cruelty, all this unfiltered, distilled malice. Oh my God, it's just they believe that is a good thing. They see that as a virtue, Omar.
Yeah,
they're still there, but have some self-respect.
They're all gone.
Okay,
they're all
gone?
former. Yeah.
Okay, all right, good. And if anyone who's still,
but he still has employees. That's the problem.
You want to have him say he owns you? Okay, have at it, Hoss. But then either have some self-respect and leave, or just understand the decision you're making when you're working with Steven Crowder. Look, guys, we have a rule here at TYT. It's a rule imposed by me, and that is disagreements are allowed. Okay. And I'll tell you, the only time that I get bothered is when
we're just going to play a few more seconds of this.
Not allowed to disagree. I never say it, right? But sometimes other people will think, no, I have the leftist position. And you are not allowed to disagree with me. No, wrong, incorrect. We're allowed to disagree here on TV, okay? And we're gonna allow it forever and ever and ever. So if folks don't like that, that's fine. There's plenty of channels where they just...
Yeah, I think that's definitely healthy for leftist discourse, but...
I like things. Things are getting funnier.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. I'll be laughing. I'm not even listening.
I think Schenk has really funny moments on TYT. But yeah, guys, they're gonna defend Crowder no matter what he does. They're gonna trust me. They're gonna say it's not but then if you inevitably prove that he definitively did something wrong, they're gonna just celebrate it as a virtue and say, abuse or not, I like cruelty either way. They'll probably not phrase it like that, but they'll definitely say, I like it when we do contrarian things. Like conservatism nowadays, especially American conservatism, it's just about malice. Cruelty is the virtue.
Cruelty is different.
Yep, 100%.